In this video, I want to talk about how I worked through a negative self-belief that I had from trauma in following up from the last video. So I had this pesky little belief that was, I don't deserve to have what everybody else has. I don't even know if I was consciously aware of it for a long time, but it was something that would just pop up and that I felt like was driving me. And honestly, I think it was created in part because of the sexual abuse I went through, but it was also created in part because of the home life that I had. I was not treated well, and I felt ignored, I felt small, I felt like I didn't have a safe place to land, that I was judged, that I was in a lot of chaos and just relying on myself. And I think something got built in there that was like, I don't deserve what these other kids get, which is the safe, love, warm home that I saw them. And granted, I know not nearly everyone has this, but as a kid, you're kind of seeing those examples. And there was just this idea in my head of, I don't deserve that, right? Like, how else are you supposed to think about it as a kid? It's important to know that children are unable to see other people's experiences and to understand their own reasons for acting and doing what they're doing. So if a parent is angry and mean to a child for no reason, the kid is unable to think about, oh, maybe dad had a long day at work, or oh, maybe mom's stressed about money. They can't do that. They don't have the ability to do that. And so often these negative beliefs that come in childhood are really rooted in this space of, it's what children are cognitively able to do. It's what they're capable of, right? And so for me, all right, I'm in chaos. I'm going back and forth between these houses. I'm not being seen. I'm not being treated the way I want to be treated. I'm not being like kind of cherished for who I am. Like, I don't deserve to have what these other kids have. And that was something that followed me, and that I feel like I was trying at some points in my life to get certain things from relationships to prove that belief wrong. So in a relationship I had before my relationship with my husband now, I was so dead set on getting engaged and getting married and having a child by a certain age because I was trying to prove something to myself. I do deserve what everyone else has. But I still felt like I didn't. I could still feel like this urge to get this stuff locked down was overriding what was actually going on in the relationship in my life that wasn't actually flowing and working. I just wanted to put a ring on it and to prove to myself for once and for all that this belief wasn't true. And it's really interesting because that wouldn't have changed the belief. And this is something I talk about with clients all the time. The external thing that you think is going to change in here and change the belief isn't actually going to do that. That job promotion, that raise, that marriage, that child, that person giving you a stamp of approval, gold star, isn't going to change the feeling inside. It might help for a little bit. It doesn't hurt sometimes, but it's not going to fundamentally change that. And I can just see myself in this relationship where I was trying and working and going for some validation to show to myself that I did deserve love. I do deserve family. I deserve it. And it got in the way of seeing the flaws in the relationship, in knowing that the timing wasn't right for me to get married. I was like processing all this trauma and all this stuff. And when I came out with what had happened to me and my trauma, and seeing people view me in a different way than how I imagined they would, was one big piece in starting to feel like, wait a second, maybe I do deserve love and connection. Maybe by showing myself, I can find love and opening myself up, and people might actually love the real me. And that was a really important piece. I also will say, when I left that past romantic relationship, after I broke up with this person, he bought me a ring, and I said no. And it was like this moment where I had already changed my mind, and I had already realized that this wasn't the right relationship for me. And I was able to say, you know what, I'm going to take this risk and take this chance and bet on myself and know that I can find what I really want and what I'm looking for, as opposed to taking this ring and getting that gold star that I was looking for of validation and deserving of this love. And through my healing process, I was able to get to a place of knowing that I inherently deserve love and belonging, as I feel like everyone does. But it took a long road and a long process of really starting to untangle where those beliefs came from, and to see that the way I was treated wasn't a reflection on me. How could I not feel that way as a kid? I couldn't. But as an adult, I could start really, really starting to peel those pieces away, right? It's learning not to take personally some of the most personal things in life, like how you're treated, how you might be abused, and to be like, wait, that actually wasn't about me. It's kind of insane when you think about it that way, but it's the truth. And when you start letting it not mean something about who you are at your core, it starts to shift. By then, stepping out into the world from this place of like self-love and worthiness, I met my now husband. Things flowed really smoothly. I didn't feel like I needed us to go through our engagement and our wedding as a way to prove something. But I will say, when I was pregnant with my first child, I started having some of these thoughts because I felt so grateful and so lucky and so amazed that I got to have this experience that for so long I had in my head that I wouldn't get to have. And anytime there was any issue during the pregnancy that popped up, I would feel this flooding coming back of like, see, you shouldn't have gotten so comfortable. You don't deserve this. This is too good to be true. That would be where my brain would want to go. And I would have to like sit with that, and also sit with, I want and deserve this, and I can handle whatever happens, and I'm going to stay in a place of openness and love, even when that fear is loud, even when that fear is playing on all these old beliefs of my body being broken, of me not deserving this. He was born a couple weeks early, and when he was a few weeks old, we had to go back to the hospital for some issues that were coming up, and there was like a maybe 12-hour period that was really intense and trying to figure out what was going on. And I was in the hospital, and I was sitting, looking at him. He was laying in this little bed, and just feeling so much love for this little human. Like, I couldn't have ever even imagined how much love I could have for anyone. And having a moment where I'm like, oh my God, what if this gets taken from me? And the same thought, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve to have what everyone else has. See, too good to be true. See, you shouldn't have gotten your hopes up. You shouldn't have felt this. And I was able to just notice it, even in a moment of extreme fear and trauma, and to just say, that's not true. That's where my brain wants to go, and my brain wants to like shut down and protect me and shut off this feeling of fear and love and just like indescribable love and the fear of loss. It wants to just shut it down and say like, yep, you shouldn't have hoped for this, you fucking dummy. But instead of going there, I just sat with, I deserve this love because I can feel it, and because I can hold it, and because I can share it, and I can breathe it every single day for this human. And I'm not going to go down this path, even if the unthinkable happens right now in this moment, right? It is not because I don't deserve to have this. So if you have a negative belief about yourself, right? Some of the ones I talked about yesterday, I am broken, I am unlovable. I talked a little bit about why those come up and what you can do to start working with them. But noticing like your brain wants to continue to go down the same pathway it's gone before. That's how our brain is wired. It's like sledding down a hill. When you make a track on a sledding hill in deep snow, the sled wants to go down that same track over and over again. What you're trying to do is make some new tracks. Give yourself some new ways of thinking about it. When you notice the thought comes up and you just want to like go down that same old path, just pause and give yourself another option, right? It doesn't mean those thoughts won't come up. It doesn't mean that your brain doesn't have the instinct, but you get to choose then what you react to and where you're gonna go. So I offer that to you. I hope it's helpful to you. Subscribe and come back tomorrow so we can keep talking through all of these things. And also there's an ebook in the comments or in the caption that you can grab. It's totally free. It's 50 pages of resources around trauma, different types of therapy, all sorts of really good info. So I hope that you will grab that, and I will see you tomorrow.